Welcome back to the MMA Explorers. Today, let's get started with Paddy Pimblett sends a message to Ilia Topuria, takes shots at Arman Tsarukyan. Paddy Pimblett stirred the pot on Instagram, posting a photo with the caption, "Just waiting on that call, El Chorizo. I'm coming for you." The message was clearly aimed at UFC featherweight and lightweight champ Ilia Topuria, reigniting their ongoing rivalry. But Paddy didn't stop there. Speaking later on his YouTube channel, he went off on Arman Tsarukyan, dismissing the lightweight contender's recent rise and brushing off the idea that Arman deserves a money fight over him. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like on this video to support the channel. Let's aim for 10 likes.
All I kept getting asked this weekend was who are you fighting, when are you fighting Ilia, when are you fighting Ilia. I have no idea. Hopefully it is going to be me versus the Chorizo next, and I think that's what all the Americans want, because every American I bump into keeps saying when are you going to smash that sausage's head in. I'm hoping that gets sorted, but I understand that I am at rank 9 or something, so other people probably are more deserving, but posh boy definitely isn't. Little rich boy Arman, showing how desperate he is, offering him £1 million to fight him. Spoiled rich baby, trying to pay the way out of things. That's why he quit when he was making weight in a bath like a little bitch. Arman's irrelevant, no one cares about him. As I always say, I've got nothing but respect for Justin, but I keep seeing in interviews him saying he doesn't want to fight me. I think the only fighter makes me and Ilia. Seen Dan Hooker talking shit the other day as well. I used to like Dan Hooker, now you can eat shit.
UFC pay-per-view buys down in 2025. The UFC's pay-per-view numbers have taken a hit in 2025, according to Disney's latest earnings report. Following a recent price increase, average buys per event have dropped compared to last year, with ESPN paying the UFC less in Q3 2025 than in Q3 2024 due to the decline. Analyst Robert Joyner noted on social media that already bad pay-per-view numbers got worse year over year, adding that the UFC is in desperate need of a new superstar to reverse the trend, but none appear on the horizon. Despite the slump, TKO president Mark Shapiro expressed optimism, revealing that the UFC is in the home stretch of negotiations for its next broadcasting rights deal. While no potential partners were confirmed, the WWE recently inked a deal with ESPN to air its pay-per-views on ESPN platforms starting in 2026, making a UFC ESPN renewal a strong possibility. Dricus Du Plessis opened a future move to light heavyweight with a win at UFC 319. Dricus Du Plessis will notch his third UFC middleweight title defense, but the champion is already thinking about what could come next. During a Chicago Sports Network appearance, as part of his media tour for the upcoming clash with Khamzat Chimaev, Du Plessis revealed he's not ruling out a move to 205 pounds. The South African champ said that if he keeps winning and eventually clears out the middleweight division, a jump to light heavyweight could be in the cards.
Yeah, I think that's been the goal, the long-term goal is to move up. I'm still young in my career, 31 years old. There's a lot of time left, and I'm a firm believer that at least 3 title defenses. This will be my third before you move up in weight. And then, of course, the division needs to be cleaned out, in my opinion, before you move on to the next division.
Chael Sonnen criticizes Conor McGregor's shadow boxing. Chael Sonnen didn't hold back when talking about Conor McGregor's recent training footage. Speaking on his show, Sonnen called McGregor slow and said the former champ needs to ditch the shadow boxing altogether.
It's effing weird. If you ever find yourself shadowboxing at a time when a UFC camera is not on you, stop. I don't know if I've caught a clip of Conor McGregor where I don't see him shadowboxing. And it's as slow as molasses moving uphill. Like, he does have the form, but it's so slow. I feel as though at times my camera's lagging. It's weird as F. He'll be on a boat. He'll be in his living room to get you guys and strangers to address him in some kind of a fashion. So for goodness sakes, Conor, please do not make me look at any more shadowboxing.
Joe Rogan's UFC paychecks are just a small slice of his $200 million fortune. According to Celebrity Net Worth, Joe Rogan's estimated $200 million net worth makes him one of the wealthiest figures connected to the UFC. Surprisingly, only a small fraction of that comes from his work as an octagon-side commentator, a role he's held for nearly 25 years. Reports suggest Rogan earns roughly $50,000 per UFC event, but in recent years, he's skipped most fight night cards, focusing instead on the big numbered pay-per-views. The bulk of Rogan's fortune comes from his wildly successful podcast, stand-up comedy career, and business ventures, making his UFC paycheck more of a passion gig than a financial necessity. Michael Venom Page, frustrated with welterweight division politics. Michael Venom Page's move to middleweight was meant to be temporary, but division politics have kept him away from 170 pounds, at least for now. Speaking to MMA Junkie ahead of his UFC 319 bout with Jared Cannonier, MVP admitted he had hoped to return to welterweight after his last victory. Instead, a logjam of hesitant contenders and matchmaking politics pushed him into another middleweight clash. It feels like there's a lot more politics going on in the welterweight division, and everyone's a bit more tentative about who they fight. Page said, "I'm not at that stage of my career to care enough. Give me a good fight and I'm in." Now set to face the number 8 ranked Cannonier, Page views the matchup as his highest profile test to date. A win could vault him into top 10 territory at welterweight, should he choose to make the drop back down after UFC 319. Khamzat Chimaev staying isolated ahead of Dricus Du Plessis fight to avoid illness. Khamzat Chimaev has revealed that in preparation for his highly anticipated clash with UFC middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319, he's been keeping a low profile. Speaking about his camp, Chimaev admitted he hasn't been leaving his house much at all in order to avoid getting sick before fight night.
This fight for me has to be ready, don't get sick, and to show up to the fight and gives to my fans the thing they love. So that's why I'm just said to boys, if we go to the mall, if somebody gets sick and he's big fan, he's gonna come for me, and maybe we get that sickness, you know. So has to be careful for that. So that's why I go out. I go to the beach today as well with you and the boys, and sometimes but better to stay home.
Khamzat ran into Anderson Silva yesterday. Jackson Podcast posted the footage to his Instagram. Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman trilogy set. A decade after their infamous UFC rivalry, Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman are set to face off for a third time. Only this time, it won't be in the octagon. Before we continue, help us reach our goal of 100 subscribers here on MMA Explorers. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily MMA content. According to a report from Main Event TV, Silva vs. Weidman 3 will happen under boxing rules, while key details such as weight class, number of rounds, location, and date remain unconfirmed. Weidman has reportedly stated that the matchup is indeed happening. The two MMA legends share one of the sport's most memorable histories. In July 2013, Weidman shocked the world by knocking out Silva to end his record-setting middleweight title reign. Their rematch later that year ended in gruesome fashion when Silva's leg snapped on a checked kick, sealing Weidman's second win. Now, more than 10 years later, they'll settle the trilogy in an entirely different arena. Who wins the boxing version of Silva vs. Weidman 3? Let me know in comments. Let's wrap it up for the day. Thanks for watching.